you for joining us for this surprise announcement. We are joined by representatives from Foyt Racing, and as you can see, former IWiT driver Zach Veach for a very exciting announcement. Zach Veach has been announced to drive the number 40 Chevrolet in this year's 101st running of the Indianapolis 500, presented by Pangrade Motor Oil. His primary sponsor will be the Indy Women in Tech Championship, presented by Guggenheim, which is also the sponsor of the LPGA event that will be happening at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on September 4th through the 10th. Zach, we'll go ahead and start with you. This is obviously a goal that you've worked up to for many seasons now, and to finally get this done has to be very rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, this is getting closer to hopefully completing an 18-year-old dream that I've had. And I think as any young American driver, you always think about Indianapolis, and of course, you always relate the names with Foyt, with Indy, and that's something that you strive to be like. And to be able to say I'm going to run my first Indianapolis 500 with a team like his, it's very exciting for me. And this has been a goal that we've been actively working on for 10 years. This will be my 10th anniversary since I started racing. So we've had a lot of luck there in an Indy Lights car. I know it's going to be a big transition getting into the Verizon IndyCar series, but it's one I look forward to and one I definitely think we're ready for. So definitely want to thank Foyt Racing, and then of course the Indy Women in Tech Championship presented by Guggenheim, because without them none of this would be possible.
And speaking of that, luck, as you called it, I would call it success. 6 wins and 6 poles in 3 seasons in Indy Lights, and obviously a very illustrious career up the Mazda to Indy ladder. Also joined by Larry Foyt, the president of Foyt Racing. Larry, to run 3 cars at the Indianapolis 500 is a task for sure, but to have the Chevrolet power behind you this season, and to have Zach on board, what do you feel the goals for the Indy 500 will be with those 3 cars?
Well, obviously we want to win. We feel like we've got a guy in Carlos Munoz who's shown that he can definitely be there at the end of that race. Connor's got some more experience now. We think he'll be tough, and Zach's got a lot of experience even in the lights car around that track. So for us, we know Zach's a rookie. We want to win Rookie of the Year for sure. But we've been running 3 cars, and we felt like this year, at first we weren't going to do it unless the right opportunity came together. And when Zach became available, a great sponsor came up, and we've been able to line up some good people for the crew and engineering. So when that all came together, it was a no-brainer.
AJ, 4 Indianapolis 500 winners to your name, the number 40 being chosen because it is the 40th anniversary of your 4th Indy 500 win. With Zach as a driver, what do you feel he can bring to the team this May?
I've always been the type of owner that loves to give their young boys a break, and I was young at one time, not anymore, but a long time. And of course, Mother Superior told me that we had to put 40 on the car because it's been 40 years since I won the 77 race. So that's how we come up with the number. But no, I've always liked to work with young people, and I think that's how you build winners, is with young people, because when you get actually so old, you're just not going to win. Young people, young guns, they want to win. That's what we're looking for. And Larry's doing a great job on the team. I still kind of overrule him every now and then, but most of the time he calls the shots, good or bad. If when he calls them bad, I get kind of mad. All in all, he's doing a great job for the team, and I'm having to step back more every day. And so Larry likes to work with young people, like I said. And reminded me it was 40 years since I won a race. So I wasn't supposed to be here this long, but I'm still hanging around. I think he'll do a good job for Foyt Racing. We're looking forward to having him.
Thank you. Any questions from the audience? And we do have a wireless mic for the transcript. And we'll start with Tony.
Gentlemen, or Wolfgang here, 2 questions. One for Zach, one for Larry. Larry, to start, you've got a really young lineup this year, 3 guys 25 or less. I mean, how are kind of the young guys going to work together to help push the team forward, since they're all kind of similar stages of their career?
They are young, but even as young as Carlos being 25, he's been at the Speedway, 5 years, I think, so 4. This will be his 5th year. So he's got a few races under his belt. It is a young group, but when you've got a guy like AJ that they can talk to, I think it's a huge help for them, and a lot of experience there. As a team, we have a lot of experience at Indy, and we're bringing in some good engineers with a lot of experience. So it's definitely a big thing for the young guys, but I think we have enough experience around the team to really help accelerate their learning curve.
And then Zach, for you, it's not just your Indy 500 debut, but it's your IndyCar debut. I mean, really since your test last fall, is this kind of what you've been working toward, and how surreal is it that your first IndyCar race will be the 500?
You know, it's going to be very special, of course. I mean, I am kind of lost for words when I first knew that this was going to be coming together. And, you know, we had such a strong showing in IndyCar last fall that, you know, it's made a lot of these conversations a lot easier, but it still comes down to finding, you know, funding, and luckily we were able to do that in such a short period over the last couple of weeks. So very thankful for that. But, you know, to be starting things off in Indianapolis, you know, that's the most important race in the world to me. You know, being from a small town in Ohio, it's always been my dream to try to make Veach one of the names around Indianapolis history, and I think this is the best starting foot that I can possibly have to, you know, hopefully be able to do that one day. So I just got to learn from everybody around me. I'm really ecstatic to have the team that I do, you know, with AJ's experience, you know, Larry's, especially Carlos and Connor. And I worked with Carlos in my first year at Indy Lights, and he's what made me be able to go into Indy Lights in 2014 and almost win that title. So really looking forward to that because he is so fast at Indy. I don't have to tell you guys that he's definitely going to be the one of the guys to win it in a few years, but hopefully, you know, one of us three can charge to the front and go for a win this year, because Rookie of the Year is definitely on my agenda for something I want to do, but as we could see last year, it's not out of the question for a rookie to run up front and win it. So we just got to make sure we make smart decisions all month, learn as much as we can so we're prepared on race day, and then just go for it when the time comes.
Other questions? Yes, Mark.
First question is for Zach. Your first time in the car will be at the rookie orientation, I assume?
That's the plan right now, yes.
And I guess a question for Larry or for AJ. Last year, the Honda seemed to have a little bit of an advantage in Indy. Are you looking forward to the standard body kits next year so that everybody's on a level playing field?
Well, sure. Yeah, we definitely like the direction IndyCar's headed. I think that the aero kit's made for a lot of good conversations and some engineering exercises, but at the end of the day, it probably wasn't the best way for the series to go. So we're excited about that. And Chevrolet's certainly working hard. Honda's stepped up their game, it looks like, but Chevrolet is definitely working hard, and we're going to, I think when we'll be on a different engine when we come to the Speedway. So we're looking for a jump there, and Chevrolet's always competitive, and they've shown that through their results. So I think we'll be fine, and really looking forward to just getting to Indy and getting Zach going.
Other questions?
I actually have one for AJ. Because the guys are so young, they all have some experience at the Speedway. Well, what kind of things can you talk to them or tell them about to just so they understand how to respect the Speedway and what it can present to you?
Well, the biggest thing I've learned through the years in Indianapolis, what you're talking about, right? Is to win that race, you got to be there at the end of the day. And I remember a lot of guys that was out running me a lot of times, but at the end of the day, I was out running them. That's what I would tell Zach. You know, don't worry about the first part, just worry about the last part. If you're there at the end of the day, you'll be there.
Other questions? Yes, Mark.
Is there any chance that this deal will end up being additional races later in the year, or is it definitely going to be a one-off?
Well, you never know. I mean, for right now, this is just a one-off. This is a month-to-May program, and we're just focusing on that. And we really wouldn't have done it if we didn't think it was going to help the whole, you know, both ABC cars as well. And that's what, at the end of the day, when my dad and I were talking about it, we decided to pull the trigger because of the people that were coming on board. We thought it would really help out the whole group as a whole, especially as we try to learn the new body kit and stuff with Chevrolet. So for us, having another car getting data is good for us.
Any final questions? Thank you. So again, the Indy Women in Tech Championship presented by Guggenheim will be the primary sponsor of the number 40 Chevrolet of Zach Veach for Foyt Racing. That is in promotion of the LPGA event happening at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, September 4th through the 10th. Gentlemen, congratulations. We look forward to seeing you in May.
Thank you. Us too.